Imagine a world map, dotted with countless destinations, each promising unique experiences. But for UK citizens, a growing number of these destinations are becoming off-limits. What are these countries, and why have they closed their doors to British travelers? Let's embark on a journey to uncover the mysteries behind this travel ban. In this video, we'll delve into the 10 countries that have imposed restrictions on UK citizens. We'll explore the reasons behind these bans, from political tensions to safety concerns. Join us as we uncover the stories behind these off-limits destinations. Country 1, North Korea. North Korea, a country shrouded in secrecy and rigid control, is a place where UK citizens are highly discouraged from visiting. The authoritarian regime of Kim Jong-un has imposed strict travel restrictions, making it nearly impossible for tourists to enter without special permission. The country's closed-off nature means that visitors are constantly monitored, and any form of dissent or suspicion can lead to severe consequences, including detention and imprisonment. The UK government has issued strong warnings against all but essential travel to North Korea. Human rights abuses, lack of access to basic services, and the potential for sudden political instability make it a risky destination. Moreover, the limited communication with the outside world and the absence of a UK embassy in Pyongyang mean that consular assistance is virtually non-existent. For these reasons, North Korea remains one of the most restricted countries for UK citizens. Travelers should also be aware that even if they manage to obtain a visa, they will be subjected to constant surveillance. The rigid itineraries, controlled interactions with locals, and the pervasive propaganda can make the experience unnerving. Given the potential risks and the lack of freedom, it's no wonder that North Korea tops the list of countries where UK citizens are advised not to visit. Country 2, Afghanistan. Afghanistan, a nation marked by decades of conflict, remains a highly volatile and dangerous destination for UK citizens. The resurgence of the Taliban and ongoing terrorist activities pose significant threats to foreign travelers. The security situation is unpredictable, with frequent attacks targeting civilians, government officials, and foreigners. The UK Foreign Office advises against all travel to Afghanistan due to the high risk of kidnapping, terrorism, and civil unrest. The withdrawal of international forces has further destabilized the region, leaving many areas under the control of armed groups. The lack of infrastructure, medical facilities, and reliable communication networks exacerbate the dangers for any visitor. For those who might consider traveling to Afghanistan, the risks are compounded by the absence of a functioning government in many areas. Kidnapping for ransom is a common tactic used by militant groups, and foreigners are prime targets. The cultural and legal restrictions imposed by the Taliban also mean that travelers can inadvertently violate local norms, leading to severe penalties. Given these substantial risks, Afghanistan is a country UK citizens should avoid in 2024. Country 3, Syria. Syria, once a popular destination for its rich history and cultural heritage, is now a war-torn country that remains extremely dangerous for UK citizens. The ongoing civil war, the presence of various armed factions, and the threat of terrorism create a perilous environment. Large parts of the country are controlled by different militant groups, including ISIS, making travel extremely hazardous. The UK government has issued a strong advisory against all travel to Syria. The conflict has led to widespread destruction, a humanitarian crisis, and a breakdown of law and order. Kidnappings, bombings, and violent clashes are common, and the capacity for consular assistance is severely limited. The unpredictable nature of the conflict means that even areas that appear safe can quickly become dangerous. For UK citizens, the risks are not just limited to physical harm. There are significant legal and bureaucratic hurdles, as many countries do not recognize Syrian travel documents, and obtaining a visa is nearly impossible. The lack of infrastructure, medical facilities, and basic services further deters any form of tourism. Given the extreme risks and the volatile situation, Syria is a country UK citizens should steer clear of in 2024. Country 4, Yemen. Yemen, located on the southern tip of the Arabian Peninsula, is another country that UK citizens are strongly advised to avoid. The ongoing civil war, humanitarian crisis, and the presence of terrorist groups such as Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, AQAP, and ISIS make it one of the most dangerous places in the world. The conflict has led to widespread destruction, famine, and disease, further complicating any travel plans. The UK Foreign Office advises against all travel to Yemen, citing the high risk of terrorism, kidnapping, and military operations. The country's infrastructure has been severely damaged, and basic services such as healthcare and water supply are limited. The security situation is highly unpredictable, with frequent clashes between different factions and the threat of airstrikes. For UK citizens, the dangers extend beyond physical harm. The lack of a functioning government in many areas means that legal protections are minimal, and the risk of arbitrary detention is high. Additionally, the limited consular support and the difficulty in leaving the country in an emergency make it a particularly risky destination. For these reasons, Yemen is a country UK citizens should avoid at all costs in 2024. Country 5, Libya. Libya, once a thriving North African nation, has been plagued by instability and conflict since the fall of Muammar Gaddafi in 2011. The ongoing civil war and the presence of various armed militias make it an extremely dangerous destination for UK citizens. The lack of a central government and the frequent violent clashes create an unpredictable and hazardous environment. The UK government advises against all travel to Libya due to the high risk of terrorism, kidnapping, and armed conflict. The country's infrastructure is in ruins, and essential services such as healthcare, water, and electricity are unreliable. The security situation can deteriorate rapidly, and the absence of a functioning police force means that crime and violence are rampant. For UK citizens, the risks are compounded by the lack of diplomatic presence in Libya. The British embassy in Tripoli remains closed, and consular assistance is extremely limited. The threat of kidnapping for ransom is significant, and foreigners are often targeted. The legal and bureaucratic challenges, combined with the severe security risks, make Libya a country UK citizens should avoid in 2024. Country 6, Iraq. Iraq, a country with a rich cultural heritage and history, has been marred by decades of conflict and instability. The ongoing threat of terrorism, sectarian violence, and political instability make it a highly dangerous destination for UK citizens. The presence of various armed groups, including ISIS, further exacerbates the security risks. The UK Foreign Office advises against all but essential travel to Iraq, citing the high risk of terrorism, kidnapping, and armed conflict. The security situation is highly volatile, with frequent attacks targeting civilians, government officials, and foreigners. The lack of infrastructure and basic services, combined with the ongoing conflict, makes it a challenging and dangerous place to visit. For UK citizens, the risks are significant. The threat of kidnapping is particularly high, and foreigners are often targeted for ransom. The legal and cultural challenges, combined with the limited consular support, make it difficult to navigate the complexities of travel in Iraq. Given these substantial risks, Iraq is a country UK citizens should avoid in 2024. Country 7, South Sudan. South Sudan, the world's newest country, has been embroiled in conflict and instability since gaining independence in 2011. The ongoing civil war, humanitarian crisis, and the presence of armed groups make it a highly dangerous destination for UK citizens. The lack of infrastructure and basic services further complicates any travel plans. The UK government advises against all travel to South Sudan due to the high risk of violence, kidnapping, and armed conflict. The security situation is highly unpredictable, with frequent clashes between different factions and the threat of attacks on civilians. The country's infrastructure is in ruins, and essential services such as healthcare and water supply are limited. For UK citizens, the risks extend beyond physical harm. The lack of a functioning government and the limited consular support make it difficult to navigate the complexities of travel in South Sudan. The legal and cultural challenges, combined with the severe security risks, make it a particularly risky destination. For these reasons, South Sudan is a country UK citizens should avoid in 2024. Country 8, Central African Republic. The Central African Republic, CAR, is another country that UK citizens are strongly advised to avoid. The ongoing conflict between various armed groups has led to widespread violence and instability. The country's infrastructure is in ruins, and essential services such as healthcare, water, and electricity are limited. The UK Foreign Office advises against all travel to CAR due to the high risk of violence, kidnapping, and armed conflict. The security situation is highly unpredictable, with frequent clashes between different factions and the threat of attacks on civilians. The lack of a functioning government and the limited consular support make it difficult to navigate the complexities of travel in CAR. For UK citizens, the risks are significant. The threat of kidnapping is particularly high, and foreigners are often targeted for ransom. The legal and cultural challenges, combined with the severe security risks, make CAR a particularly risky destination. Given these substantial risks, CAR is a country UK citizens should avoid in 2024. Country 9, Somalia. Somalia, a country located in the Horn of Africa, has been plagued by conflict and instability for decades. The presence of terrorist groups such as Al-Shabaab and the ongoing civil war make it an extremely dangerous destination for UK citizens. The lack of a functioning government and the frequent violent clashes create an unpredictable and hazardous environment. The UK government advises against all travel to Somalia due to the high risk of terrorism, kidnapping, and armed conflict. The country's infrastructure is in ruins, and essential services such as healthcare, water, and electricity are unreliable. The security situation can deteriorate rapidly, and the absence of a functioning police force means that crime and violence are rampant. For UK citizens, the risks are compounded by the lack of diplomatic presence in Somalia. The British Embassy in Mogadishu remains closed, and consular assistance is extremely limited. Foreigners, especially those from Western countries, are prime targets for kidnapping and ransom by militant groups and criminal gangs. The legal system is weak and inconsistent, making it difficult to seek justice or protection in case of disputes or incidents. Country 10, Venezuela. Venezuela, once one of South America's most prosperous nations, has descended into economic and political turmoil. The country's ongoing crisis has led to hyperinflation, widespread shortages of food and medicine, and a breakdown of public services. The political situation is highly unstable, with frequent protests, violent clashes, and a repressive government response. The UK Foreign Office advises against all but essential travel to Venezuela due to the high levels of crime, political instability, and the potential for social unrest. Kidnappings, armed robberies, and violent crime are common, particularly in urban areas. The severe economic crisis means that law enforcement is often corrupt or ineffective, and emergency services are severely limited. For UK citizens, the risks are exacerbated by the lack of reliable consular support. The British Embassy in Caracas operates with limited staff and resources, making it difficult to provide assistance in case of emergencies. Travelers can also face significant bureaucratic hurdles, with frequent changes in visa requirements and entry procedures. Moreover, the scarcity of basic necessities such as food, water, and medical supplies means that visitors must be entirely self-sufficient, carrying enough provisions for their entire stay. The political situation can also change rapidly, with potential for sudden border closures, curfews, and travel restrictions. Given these extensive risks, Venezuela is a country UK citizens should avoid in 2024. These 10 countries present significant risks to UK travelers, from political instability and conflict to severe economic crises and high crime rates. The advisories and restrictions are in place for good reason, aiming to protect citizens from potentially dangerous situations. If you're planning your travels for 2024, it's crucial to stay informed and heed these warnings to ensure a safe and enjoyable journey. Be sure to check official travel advisories regularly and consider safer destinations for your adventures. Stay safe, and thank you for watching.